So have you ever been confused by the term DBQ, IMO, or Nexus letter? Well, these are letters that a doctor can write to help you win your VA disability claim. And if that's confusing, stand by because that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. So I'm Mark. I'm a disabled Army veteran. I have all the benefits I believe that I deserve. It took me 7 years and about $100,000 of lost and unrealized benefits. But I've learned a lot since then. I've helped over 600 veterans get the benefits they deserve, and my hope is that I can help you as well. So we're going to talk about letters that doctors can write for veterans in this video, and these things are called multiple names. You have the DBQ, Disability Benefits Questionnaire, you have the Nexus letter, and then you have an IMO, Independent Medical Opinion. So regardless of what it's called, it needs to do one of three things that I'm going to explain in this video, because these things are not free. They cost, the cheapest one I've ever seen was $600, and then they go all the way up to $1,800. And if you don't know what you need, you might overspend. Oftentimes these doctors take your money up front, and they are independent, which means they are not tied to your victory or your defeat. Whether you win or lose, they're going to get paid. So keep that into account as I'm sharing these things with you. So the first thing you have to be educated on is when you're getting a letter from a doctor, you have what's called a Nexus letter or an IMO. They're kind of the same thing. And what you're going for is a service connection. So this is a doctor that's going to look at your current evidence, and then they're going to look at your past evidence from the service. And then what's going to happen is they're going to make an opinion on whether or not said disability today was due to what happened back here. So it's really helpful in helping you win your claim. But the thing that you have to understand here is you need a winnable claim to begin with before you pay this doctor. If you're going for sleep apnea, let's say, and you have a veteran that's gone to the VA for sleep apnea for the last 10 years and they're trying to win a direct service claim, well, they don't have any active duty medical evidence. They only have stuff from the VA, so there's no way to prove a nexus anyways. Doesn't matter if you pay a doc to help you with that. That doctor is not going to be able to find stuff in your history that supports that sleep apnea today is caused by your service, because those records don't exist. So you have to know that. And a good company will probably charge you a couple $100 to do the records review just to make sure that they find what they need to find. And then if they don't find it, if you're lucky, they'll tell you, hey, you don't have enough in here, we can't help you, but thanks for the $200. Now that's if it's a good company. If it's a bad company, they'll smile at you and take all your money, and they won't tell you that your strategy is doomed from the start, because that just means you'll come back later, potentially. So, I mean, I'm not saying that happens, I'm just saying that's just how it is, right? That's just how business works sometimes, unfortunately. So make sure that you are educated and that you have a winnable claim before you attempt to pay the doctor for a Nexus letter or an IMO. That's all I'm saying. The second thing is an increase. A doctor can help you with an increase by doing what's called a DBQ, or just an independent exam on you. Whatever they call it, it doesn't matter. As long as the examination shows the severity of your condition, the disability you paid the doctor for, which you will then submit as evidence to the VA showing that you're bad, that's something that a doctor can do. Now, there is not really a difference here between going to the hospital 3 or 4 times at the VA and that doctor, the treating doctor, writing down with meticulous detail what's actually wrong with you. This is kind of the same thing, except you're paying a doctor specifically for a disability exam. Now you can get the same thing with a treating doctor if they're writing everything down. So the reason that I would pay for a doctor to do this is if the condition itself was just hard to win to begin with. For example, back pain, knee pain, muscular pain. If I'm at 10% and I want to go to the next compensable level, oftentimes that's difficult. So I'm going to get a doctor to help me. I've done this before. Another reason I would do it is maybe I was 70% for mental health, and now I need to go to 100% if I'm really that bad, and I need as much weight on my end of the scale to win my claim as possible. Well, that's another reason I might pay a doctor. But if I had time and it wasn't a factor, and I would just go to the hospital 5-6 times, I could accomplish basically the same thing. Or I could do both. I could go to the hospital and pay the doctor to give myself the maximum chance at winning. But that's the second thing that happens with a Nexus letter, DBQ or IMO, is it gives you a snapshot that's current that you can submit with your claim. And sometimes a doctor does the full shebang, which is a Nexus letter and like an examination. The third reason is simply just getting a diagnosis. Some doctors, during this process of examining you and writing the letter for the Nexus, they can also diagnose you if they're competent to do so. Some doctors can't do that because it's not in the purview of whatever the three-letter acronym is after their name. You know, PhD, masters, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. So some doctors can prescribe medicine, for example. Well, some doctors can probably diagnose while others cannot. You have to be aware of that. And if there's a doctor that you pay that does all three, well, even better. You get the full service right there. This is seen as the holy grail by veterans in the VA disability verse because it just makes your claim a lot heavier. The only problem is you usually have to pay them, and it's hefty. So make sure that you are educated, know what you need, because different companies have different structures. Some will just do a Nexus letter. Some will do both, different prices. Well, you can save yourself a couple $100 potentially, and that's why I'm here talking to you about this. So if you found this video helpful, please like it, please subscribe to my channel. And with that, this is Mark signing out, wishing you good fortune in the claims to come.